Let's get into the market today. We could be on a pump. We could be on a retracement. Well, we'll break it all down for you. It's going to be a good one, so stick around for that. I do want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Coinbase. Did you guys know that you can actually trade stocks over there around the clock right now, 24/5, available to pay or trade? And of course, the cool thing here, zero commission right now, zero commission trading stocks over on Coinbase. And of course, one of the things you can do, of course, is jump into crypto for the very first time and get up to $2,000 when you buy $50 in crypto. But of course, this gives you the ability to do everything in one place. So check it out. Use our link down below. Let's get into it today. I want to bring in Tim Warren, coming in from Tim Warren Trades over on YouTube. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, Paul. Good to be back on the show today.
I'm looking at your video array here on your YouTube channel. You got one coming up that says a big fake out today.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. By the time we air this, that will have launched. And we're going to talk all about that stuff. So it's going to be good.
Yes.
And getting into this, make sure and follow Tim over there. Hey, listen, follow him also over on X at Tim Warren Trades as well. He hits up right here. February PCE came in at 0.3 month over month and the 2.8 year over year, slightly beating the forecast. So that was somewhat good. But many people are kind of looking at this right now, Tim, and saying, just wait. We're not there yet. And that, of course, is, with some of the things that are happening in Iran. Now we're dealing with energy cost, all that. What do you think is going to happen on the next CPI number coming in?
The next CPI number? Oh, I mean, the recent ones have been bad. Obviously, today wasn't terrible, but I'm expecting it more than likely to be around expectation, maybe a little higher. I mean, at the end of the day, like we know how easily manipulated these things are. I mean, there was just a person let go within the last year and some change that was clearly, manipulating data. And you look at that, you're like, oh, how terrible that is. Well, it's like, well, no, she just proved how easy it is to do and get away with it for a long time. So you kind of get yourself to a position. I asked my community this the other day. I told my community this the other day, rather. I've stopped asking the question, am I being lied to? And I now ask myself the question, why are they lying to me? I know they're lying to me. Everything's a lie at this point on the internet. So now it's more important. If you want to make money, you need to start asking why they're lying. And if you can understand why they're lying, you might be able to see into their motives a little bit sooner than others.
Yeah, I think that's a key one here. Speaking of the lying that's been going on, we've got President Trump calling on Fed Chair Powell to cut interest rates before the next Fed meeting that's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Is this just like a standard tweet that he puts out on True Social, just to give Chair Powell a hard time? What do you think?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think I don't want to say Jerome Powell has done a perfect job. I don't want to say he's done a good job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is this level, and this is all politics. You need, if things aren't 100% going your way, you need a scapegoat. And so constantly putting out too late, Powell, you need to cut rates. Donald Trump knows he's not going to cut rates, but he needs that scapegoat to say, well, it wasn't my fault. It was Jerome Powell's fault. And now let me get my guy in and we're going to start cutting rates and now everything's going to turn good. And I hope it does. Like, again, I'm one of these people who I hope both left and right sides of the aisles do good things and the country does well. I realize both sides end up screwing the pooch one way or another. But I'm always hopeful. But I read this stuff and just, hey, this is just more Donald Trump trying to push blame to somebody else as to why the country's economy is not at a great place.
Right. And I think the key there with that is there's two things. One, of course, is the influence that we've seen, obviously, in Iran. But I think also the situation, we'll talk about Clarity Day, but also the Fed rate hike. Now we're talking about if you look at the percentage, and granted, this is after Powell most likely will be out because it's just talking about 2026 as a whole. But you can kind of see the possibility at least of getting one rate hike is in and somewhat flying. I mean, if you want to call 13% chance. But I'm not really all in that Kevin Warsh is going to do this. Would you say that he's going to hike or reduce rates or for throughout the end of the year, or do you think we'll get a hike?
Well, I don't think we're going to hike. I think it'd be absolutely crazy if he gets in there and does not cut rates. But I think more specifically, people need to understand the nuances of everything going on right now. Jerome Powell is not cutting rates, but he is starting a form of quantitative easing, which actually is helping a little bit. But he's not cutting rates. Warsh, on the other hand, I think you've talked about this on your channel as well. He's probably going to come in and cut rates, but he's probably going to ease off on some of the quantitative easing that Jerome Powell's been doing. So I think there's actually a chance that he comes in and cuts rates. It's actually bullish for the cycle, bullish for the markets. But we'll see how it all shakes out down the road. I don't think everything's as clear cut as people want to think. But let's pretend though we live in a world, Paul, where he comes in and doesn't cut rates. We have to assume Donald Trump is going to be furious. No,
he's gonna that's going to be a party to watch.
That'd be two Fed chairmen in a row that he appointed that turn on him. It would be it'd be nuts. It'd be good television though. I'll tell you that.
Out of the world, man. Out of the world. Can you imagine that? Ooh, man, I'd love to be at Mar-a-Lago after that for sure.
Be a fly on the wall.
Yeah. I've got a clip here. This is Tom Lee and Cathie Wood. They're talking about timing this bottom, or at least understanding when it might actually occur. I want to play that for you, and then I want to get your opinion. Take a look.
Higher oil is relatively good for U.S. equities because, one, the U.S. is a net producer of oil, but as people worry about global growth slowing because of high oil, they want to own growth stocks, which actually makes them want to own the U.S. stock market because it is a growth index, especially the Mag 7 and software. I'm also in the camp that I think we're making our bottom this month for the equity markets.
Okay. This is a really good time to pick up on stocks that might be more volatile. Volatility in our world it does not measure risk as much as it measures uncertainty. And we are not in an AI hype cycle. And we think it has miles to go.
All right, so there you got it. You got Tom Lee over here saying the bottom this month. And then you got Cathie Wood saying we're not in an AI hype cycle. And she's looking at the volatility of it. When you look at that, and then you kind of apply that metric to what's happening in Bitcoin and ETH and in general, the market, where do you think we land right here? Here's the poll. Bitcoin will reach 50K by the end of March. Yes? No? It'll tap 60, then up.
I'm going to say no. I'm just saying no. I'm going to go with no. It's not going to reach 50K by the end of March.
All right, there you go.
I think that it could get closer to that in April.
You're with the crowd. You're with the crowd.
Yeah. That's not good, Paul. As we said before, I
know you hate that.
I answered wrong.
I know you hate it. All right. Well, you're thinking maybe April, though. Okay, so let's take a look at the chart. Yeah. On the Bitcoin chart, what indicators are you seeing that says April instead of March?
Well, it's not so much the indicators telling me the exact timeline, but it's things that I still think need to play out. So if we go to my screen here, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at on some larger time frames. Now, this morning, obviously we've had a lot of volatility here. We shot up we almost kissed 74K this morning. We are back down right now, but what I'm monitoring right now, there still are some buy signals on these larger time frames. For example, the daily chart, we had this buy signal come in almost perfectly on the retest of a former resistance line. And then what I'm watching right now is this weekly buy signal that looks like it wants to flash. It hasn't confirmed. We technically need to see this week's candle close and confirm. But what I'm looking at here is this is a tool that I created called Kryptonite. And in a long haul, reversals are coming in. The MACD is back to being positive, and we're getting a green dot right now. The last time we had this, come back over here and look at December 29th of 2025. Now, we're not talking about rallies to new all-time highs, but you can see going back over here, that's this candle right here. We would go on to bounce up and touch the weekly Gaussian band. Can we get back to the weekly Gaussian band? We'll have to see. It's going to be quickly falling. I have a target right in here, this red box. Come in here and let's look at liquidations for a second. There are some pretty hefty liquidations. We were in a big season of getting rid of all the long liquidations to the downside. Right now, though, we recently took out a big wave at 74. There's another big wave up here at 75. But you see this pocket right here just south of 80K. The reason why that pocket's interesting to me is I don't think that the bottom is in yet, but I do think we're in a macro Elliott wave theory. I have one of my pro traders in my group is an Elliott wave theory guy, and he talks about this all the time. We need to get a fifth wave down. We had a big wave one, small wave two, nice size wave three. Okay. Wave fours. Here's the thing about Elliott wave. Wave fours don't have to get back up, but they can't get above the bottom of wave one. Guess where that's sitting right now? About 80,500. We could easily test back up to these levels and then make our lower move. I'm targeting right now 53,000 as my target to the downside. And again, there's a whole lot I can get into here, but in a nutshell, I'm not going to draw it out for you. Head and shoulders pattern, fixed range volume profile, along with Fibonacci levels, all suggest 53,000 is a very interesting support level. Okay. However, I think that could be the bottom. I think that could be the bottom of the bull market, but guess what we don't have that I think we need to see to get a bottom? We need to see a weekly bullish divergence from the RSI. We have the lower lows, right? But look at the RSI right here. The RSI has not put in a higher low to go with the lower high or lower low from the price action. We need to see this RSI actually bounce up a little higher and then put in a higher low mixed with a lower low in price action. And then we have our bullish divergence, very similar. Let me come out of here and go back and show you, very similar to what the bottom of 2022 looked like. Higher low in the RSI, lower low in price action. But now let's talk about, why do I think that we are close to the bottom and that we need to see a play out like this? It's because guess what we just hit on the weekly chart here a couple weeks ago? We hit 26.27. Go back to previous bear markets. The bear market of 2022 bottomed in the RSI at that level. The bear market of 2018, bottomed at that level. The bear market of, I don't have a history. The bear market back here in 2015, this chart doesn't go that far. It bottomed at that level. So we've hit the RSI low. Now it's about setting the bullish divergence, which to me screams one more wave down. But at first, we need to trap people. I think people are still too pessimistic. But a surge up here closer to 80K, retail's going to be convinced the bull run's back on. We're going to new highs, all to get trapped once again, take out some short positions, create some fresh ones, and then make our last move down, set up the bullish divergence, and now we find ourselves a bottom for the bear market.
There you go. Well, not anybody watching our show is going to get trapped, I hope.
There we go.
This is the key is just being aware of what can happen in some of these markets. It's not, it's not financial advice, but at least you get some historical analysis here of what we've seen with the RSIs. I want to play a clip from Mark Cudmore because he hits on something that's important. Because if you look at Catalyst right now, what are some of the things that could potentially happen? One is going to be the S&P 500, which I want to get your opinion on the chart. But listen to what Mark had to say.
But all the bullish arguments I hear are based on just assumptions which just don't seem to make sense of the news flow. Everyone's talking about Trump's off-ramp. Well, what's Iran's off-ramp? Iran is the one who's closed the Strait of Hormuz, which is the one that's disrupting the global economy. I don't see what their incentive is to open it up without being offered something massive in return. I'm not seeing the world in the space that it wants to offer Iran many goodies right now. So I just don't see how this has an imminent outcome. Again, I reiterate, I'm not a geopolitical expert, and stocks definitely are pricing a very imminent outcome. They're pricing that because Trump cares about markets, it'll all be resolved soon, even though they can't explain how he get there. They're like, Trump will want to off-ramp. Well, he's not the only protagonist in this story. So stocks are completely complacent, and I still see severe downside for stocks. And it's getting a little bit depressing because I'm not seeing where the optimism is. Despite that we went into this situation, with an extremely positive backdrop, I feel like we're ruining everything because I don't see where the end in sight is in terms of the Strait of Hormuz flowing freely. And I think the disruption to markets is still being underestimated.
All right, disruption to markets underestimated here. I'm looking at Ted. He's clocking us in right now at almost $1 trillion, been wiped out. If you look at the S&P, Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, Avgo, you name it. Everybody's either at break or we are on the move downward. And Cudmore is now saying that he thinks that there's more pain to come. This would be significant if we saw another 5% come off the S&P. What's your position on the S&P 500 right now?
It's overdue for a pullback. This is something that any technical analyst who watches the S&P 500 has been talking about now for quite some time. So I don't want to come on here and act like, oh, I'm this, the greatest technical analyst in the world, and I've noticed something that nobody else has seen. No. You go and look at any technical analyst who does significant reviews on the S&P 500, they are all saying we're overdue for a pullback. If you go and look at my chart right here, we've begun the pullback, right? We're in the early stages of it. A very minor, and I've been saying this one for weeks, a very minor pullback keyword minor, would be at least down to 650, right? So just kind of coming back down to this slump we had back in November is the very least that it needs. I think this yellow box down here, though, closer to 600 is much more likely. This would be a pullback for the S&P 500 somewhere around 12. At the bottom of it, really got like 14-ish%. There's absolutely a chance it goes even lower than that. But the big reason why is, the weekly chart's been screaming at us for a while. The sell signals are here. We're starting to feed on that one. It's this monthly chart. The monthly chart sell signal just closed officially back here in at the end of February. So we knew, technical analysts knew that March was probably not going to be a great month for the S&P 500. It's just getting going. Take a look at some of the last couple of times sell signals have come in here. We're talking about December of 24, nice size pullback. There was a little dot right there, nothing major right there because we didn't have any reversals really coming in. But go back even before that. Let's go back to January 2022. That was the major recession. Everything pulled back at that time. But then come back to these other times. February of 2020. It's crazy how we got a sell signal right before COVID, and it just coincidentally took us back to everything we needed. You go back over here into October of 2018, back over here into February of 18. These monthly sell signals are very, very reliable, and we just got one at the end of February. So expecting a pullback is extremely healthy. Does this mean that we're going to have this massive crash similar to 08 or the Great Depression, which some analysts are going to try to fearmonger you into? No. What we see is actually a testament of success. The S&P 500 rallied despite uncertainty in the markets, despite the fact that we weren't getting rate cuts, despite the fact that liquidity wasn't coming in. So it's more like, man, how did the S&P 500 stay so high so long? That's the miracle. A correction should just simply be expected.
Well, I think the thing there, though, if you look at just some of the catalysts that we have had over the last 18 months, the AI trade had a lot to do with this too.
Oh, yes, for sure.
So that in itself is
take NVIDIA out. Take NVIDIA out of the S&P 500.
Yeah.
What does it actually
Different
look
story.
like? Good point.
Different story. For sure. Another story that is now playing into this is the length of this conflict. Here we are in the U.S. and the Iranian ceasefire probability. This is the first time that we've seen December now on the poly market. So December coming in hot for the potential for the ceasefire. This could really lengthen things, which again goes back to your point of causing a lot more pain on the S&P 500. Obviously, energy will play into this. There will be some volatility opportunities for sure. But what do you think? Do you think this is going to last that long?
So, Paul, I don't know how much of my content your team has been able to consume. I'm going to show your team. I made a prop for some videos I put out here recently.
Okay, here we go. All right. Yeah.
I tell people I have to pull out the tinfoil hat for some of these things. Listen, Paul, I would love to live in a world where we can trust the government. I would love to live in a world where you can read the internet and know that you're being told the truth. We don't live in that world.
No.
I put a tweet out yesterday that when you go back and look at the history of things, they're going to tell you, guys, the oil prices rising will crash markets.
Yeah.
So explain 2020 to me. There's actually several times in history. Oil price increase does not equal crypto crash, stock market crash. Go back. There are times where inflation was high and yet markets rallied. There were times where Republicans are in power, things rise. Other times things fall. There's times where Democrats are in power, things rise, things fall. We are being told every single day, if this happens, we're going to crash. If this happens, we're going to crash. And the reality is no. These events in and of themselves do not cause crashes. What causes crashes is uncertainty. That is the only thing that's always around these crashes. When there's uncertainty, when there's fear, when there's doubt, these are where these things start to fall.
This is feeling pretty uncertain,
I believe, Paul, where the tinfoil hat comes in, I don't know where you are, and you don't have to. This is your show, so you don't have to. I'll be the crazy guy. I think they've already settled the war. Paul, I think that they've already settled what the Clarity Act bill is going to look like. I think
it's definitely crackpot and buzzkill here for sure.
Yes. I think that they are just playing with us to keep things uncertain, because the minute we start to figure things out, like inflation isn't a bad thing if we're used to it. Tariffs are not a bad thing if everybody's used to it. oil prices rising is not a bad thing if everyone's used to it and knows what to expect. It's the not knowing what to expect that's causing so much concern. And so we live in a world right now where the powers that be who want to manipulate price, they understand we have to keep people guessing. Why do we see one day a bunch of people really optimistic about the Clarity Act, and then the next day it's all falling apart? And then one day Donald Trump comes out and says the war is over, and the next day there's mines going into the Strait of Hormuz. And then this day Iran's the one shutting the Hormuz. Then this one is the insurance company. Then it's this company. Now this country can go through. Now this country. At the end of the day, what I'm actually realizing is this is all just made up crap to confuse us, to keep uncertainty. Why? Because a lot of wealthy people want these markets to drop so they can buy the dips. And when they're ready, when they get their fill on the S&P 500, on AI stocks, on crypto, when they catch their bottom that they want, all of a sudden, magically, the war with Iran will be over, oil prices will stabilize, the Clarity Act bill will pass, and everything will start to flow back up because certainty will start to come back. We're not there yet. But I kind of read these headlines, Paul, and I'm just like, what fresh BS am I being served today?
Yeah.
Why are they lying to me? I'm gonna trade around those lies.
First thing you see when hitting the homepage for the world's largest ETF issuer, of course, that's iShares and BlackRock right there. Expand your crypto. Discover ETHB. So there you have it, man. Staking on ETH. On BlackRock, let's talk about Ethereum. Does this impact ETH's move? Now, granted, it's moved along with Bitcoin over the last day.
Yeah.
But what's your position right now with ETH? Would you continue to dollar cost average in?
Oh, I mean, again, I tell people right now, if you watch the Bitcoin chart, I think you need to go explore other charts just to confirm. But the reason why I don't do a lot of altcoin TA right now in my content, I'll do it for my VIP trading group, but I don't do a lot on YouTube because it's actually kind of a waste of time. Look at what I'm looking at right here. This is the ETH chart. But remember we talked about Bitcoin's weekly buy signal? Well, guess what? The oscillators look the same. If I go to the daily chart, they almost look identical to the day of when the buy signals came in. While the price action isn't itself identical, like Ethereum actually came in here and put in a slightly higher high this morning than what we had over here in March. Bitcoin didn't do that. The waves are very similar. So you can just about go ahead and look at Bitcoin analysis and then go trade the Ethereum chart or the Solana chart or the XRP chart or the Chainlink chart. Eventually, someday those will shift back and things will be a little more independent. But that's where we are right now with Ethereum. And in the same world I told you, I think a Bitcoin can make a move up towards 80K. My eyes for Ethereum are going to be sitting here between 2,400 and 2,600. After that, I do think that Ethereum probably could make a big wave down and come closer towards 1,600, back to a support level of a pretty major trend line. This is going to correspond with other support levels as well. But again, if I'm going to trade Bitcoin chart, and I think that Bitcoin chart is preparing a wave up and then a wave to a slightly lower low, it's just coincidental what Ethereum's chart looks like. Major support level, major liquidations right here on 2,400 to 2,600. And then again, going down to 1,600 would make a whole lot of sense for Ethereum as well. Staying inside a macro trend, following the Bitcoin chart. If I'm right, and there's a heavy amount of evidence for Bitcoin at 53,000, I think Ethereum at 1,600 is a great spot as well. Well, I'll say this. I don't ever wait for exact bottoms. Like I'm sitting here saying this, like someone would say, Tim, does that mean you don't own any Ethereum right now? You're not buying any Ethereum. You're not buying any Bitcoin. You're waiting for these levels. No, I'm very aware of human error and Tim error. So I buy these dips. I think we are so close. I am DCAing when I see dips, but I'm still heavily convicted that the bottom isn't quite in yet.
All right, there you go. All right, well, I have one for you. ETH versus Sol right now, because those are the two, I think, titans in terms of how to trade in the markets. You got a lot of news coming out with both. ETH, kind of the new privacy chain, I feel like, with the way Vitalik's pitching it. And then you got Solana partnering with MasterCard. There's all kinds of stuff happening there. What do you think? Right. ETH versus Sol right now, if you had to pick one.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to start off by saying you don't have to pick one, right? You can diversify and own both, so therefore that's what I'm doing. But if you're asking me which one I think I'd make more money on in the bull market, it's going to be Solana. And it's as simple as just saying, I think Ethereum, I don't think Solana is going to get anywhere close to the market cap of Ethereum. But, and I'm not going to waste time to go look for it, go look at the market caps of these things. I mean, it is monstrous, the difference. So like if let's just say 1 trillion was added to Ethereum and only 700 billion was added to Solana, that's a greater return on my Solana investment than Ethereum. For sure. So therefore, even though I think Ethereum is not going to get passed by Solana, I still believe Solana is the better investment at this time.
All right, there you go. We're going to go into our lightning round. We've got some banger questions here, Tim. They're going to be some fun ones. So first
All right.
up, what has been more responsible for moving crypto prices lately, the macro chaos or the clarity odds chaos?
Oh, it's so close. Can you just put me in the middle? Both. I mean, not either or, both. Yeah.
All
They
right,
take turns.
Well, they do.
There was
You're
a
right.
time Paul, where I was making content like the last week. It was like one day a new headline would come out about Iran war, and the next day it's like the news is literally flip flopping.
Yeah,
Today let's talk news or war. Today let's talk Clarity Act. War, Clarity Act. War, Clarity Act. So I'm gonna say both.
I think clarity in terms of the market, at least crypto market. I think that's what people are most interested in. What is Trump's opinion on more swayed on gas pumps or Iranians?
What is Trump's opinion more swayed by?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna say, okay. You know what? Actually, I was about to say Iranians. But here's what I'm gonna say: gas pumps, because he's now trying to peddle that America. It's really good for America when oil
Gas
prices
goes
high,
up.
which is his way of fighting FUD and saying you should embrace gas pump prices, which means it's incentivizing his thinking. So I'm going gas pumps.
Should you wear? We should probably have a one on here. Should Tim wear the tinfoil hat? The Tim
At all times.
Tim
Yeah.
foil, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Trump's Japanese meeting with Takeichi. This is coming up next week. Do you think that's going to pump the market?
Goodness.
Japanese, they're playing hardball with it.
I haven't even thought about that question. Well, I'll say this. Yeah, let's say yes, because I think that March 20th could be a pumping situation.
Okay.
I don't know if
there
it'll
you
be
go.
that specifically, but I think we'll be pumping during that time.
All right. Perfect. Would Trump cancel clarity if Netanyahu told him to?
Oh, what a dangerous question. Yeah, this is going to get clipped and held against me. I don't. Can you just put me in the middle? Just put me in. I can't recall. I don't recall
I don't recall.
what he would do.
I will abstain from answering. After everyone is disappointed with their epic tax refund this year, Trump is going to be forced to get stimulus out. Do you think that'll happen?
Can he? I mean, it looks like he's going to litigate paying off these tariff.
Yeah, he's got no
punishments.
money
I don't know
to
if he
give
can pay
stimulus. He won't have any. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I think no. Whatever the answer is, no. We won't get stimulus checks. I think
Yeah,
is the
me too.
yeah.
Yeah, no stimulus. No stimulus, people. What's better, private market token to be exposed to right now, Anthropic or Polymarket, do you think? And just to give you, I want to cheat a little bit. Here's Anthropic right here. Okay,
Yeah.
that's their chart. This is in the if over on Jupe, you guys can find these. These are, of course, tokenized stocks available. There's the Polymarket token. Boom, it's moving. What do you think?
I think both would do well. So that again, I need.
You're in the middle?
What's underneath 600 billion versus 15 billion? Is that the current market cap?
Well, that's what we think, what the potential is, for where this is going. Current market caps, yeah. Current market caps of Polymarket and of Anthropic in terms of valuations.
Let's go with Polymarket, and the reason why is because I think the competition in the AI sector is a little stronger at the moment.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think it's Polymarket all the way. Which major app is ready to launch first? This would be immediately after Clarity passing. The Aave app, or do you think the Polymarket app would jump right after Clarity? Clarity comes through in April or May, and boom, there's an app ready to rock. Go get yield rates or midterm.
I don't know enough about what's going into the Aave app, so I'm going to go with Polymarket app just because I know a little bit more about what their goals are.
I think
I don't know if I know all the goals of Aave.
I'm with you on that. I love this one. I wish it would this one but I think it's going to take time for people to understand the yields thing. If we win the yields battle, I think the midterms are going to be heated, and Polymarket will be used by everybody.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a big one. 2026 broken tax reporting policy will kill centralized exchange usage. Will people just go, screw this, I'm going to DeFi?
No, because people are stupid and they don't understand DeFi. So no.
All right, I'm with you on that one. I think no too. There'll be the smart ones that do it, but a lot of you guys watching our
people
show
will make the shift,
Yeah.
but the majority of us are dumb.
What would be the bigger initial sign that Clarity will pass after the yield compromise? Trump coin red line is abandoned, meaning the whole issue with the Trump family, or
Right.
Larry Fink says, hey, it's done. We're getting this thing done. Get out of the way. BlackRock's in trouble.
I think it's not officially pen to paper. I think they already have a written agreement, and everybody knows what
There
to do.
we
There's
go.
no timeline. So let's
Tim's
go
off
with Larry
again.
Fink saying it's passing.
Larry Fink's on. I agree with you on that. I think
Yeah.
if Larry says it's going, it's going.
Yeah.
The day after Clarity passes, Cathie Wood goes dark on Bitcoin, and she goes all in on stablecoin and payment stocks, or all in on ETH and Solana.
I think she'd be more likely to go in on Ethereum and Solana.
Tom Lee makes his first 100,000 ETH purchase. This is our signal of the bottom. The one we're watching is
Yeah.
the Tom Lee tracker. Once he purchases 100,000 ETH, we think, okay, bottom's in. Because he's been going like 20, 40, 60 just recently.
Yeah.
He grabbed 60K.
And he probably knows stuff we don't know.
Of course.
Can you put me in the middle? Because I don't know if the Clarity Act's going to pass in 2 weeks, but I think he makes that purchase ahead of it because he gets the green light early.
I think it's after Clarity. Yeah, so I'll push on that.
Yeah, if he doesn't find out before we do, then it's after. But if he
After,
gets
yeah.
told, "Hey guys, this is going through,"
Yeah,
he'll make
well,
that
then it
purchase.
would happen. Okay, well, then, of course. What will make the most ferocious comeback after Clarity? You think it'll be SWE or AVAX?
Oh, that's a good one. Both good. Let's go with SWE though. I think SWE's due for a. I mean, they're both due for a big pullback or big correction back up, but I like SWE. I think.
I'll go just opposite
There we go.
because so we can have a
There we
counter
go. I
opinion there.
I like the balance.
XRP holders will pretend to love the Ripple Bank, but won't use it.
Yes, that's true. Yes, absolutely.
They will pretend to love it and don't
They
use
will
it. I don't
pretend to
think,
love it, but they won't actually use it. No, yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna just go. Yes, man. They will use it and they will love it.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, there you go. No, they will use it. All right, so then how low does APY need to go before we begin to see people migrating out of money market funds? Right
How
now
low
we're
does
setting it.
APY need to
Yeah,
go?
we're like at almost 4% for most parts. There's some money markets paying over 4. But if we drop down to say 2,
Okay.
1, or do you think it has to go all the way down to paying nothing before they jump out of the money market funds?
I don't even know. That's a good question.
I like 2%. I think it hits 2%. People are bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, you would like to think they'd go ahead and just do it now, but okay, yeah. Let 2 to 1. Let put me on to the left of you. Maybe it'd be a little more because people are stingy, but I think 2% would make sense.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Bitcoin and Ethereum hit all-time high after the Dems take control of the House and the Senate in the midterms. What do you think?
Historically, yes. Like split in the Senate and the presidency has actually been bullish for crypto. So yeah.
There you go. So I'm in agreement with that for that same reason too. All right, there you go, guys. Another lightning round with the tinfoil hat. I love it. I love the prop. Anyway, you got to have fun with these markets right now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good to see you out there doing it. Tim, thanks so much for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.